Horizontal system of analysis. Welcome to the fourth part of the Theories of International Relations course. In the horizontal system of analysis, the meaning of any event or concept is constructed in a context or in a discourse. In fact, delving into a concept can help to reveal the meaning of a text, whether it is a concept, idea, or an event. That is, a text may have been presented in different and successive contexts. Context refers to the historical conditions of the emergence of an event and the like, such as geopolitical conditions and so on. This type of analysis, horizontal, tied to the post-structuralism, which indicates the instability of meaning. For post-structuralism argues that meaning are not fixed and can shift depending on context, on their context. The absorbing meaning by signifiers, absorbing of the meaning or possessing of the meaning by signifiers, and the interpretation of individuals. The point is that there seems to be a kind of discursive dialectic, as one discourse absorbs signifiers that can be in conflict, in contradiction with another. This is carried out by absorbing floating signifiers, that is, signifiers without a specific reference or meaning. Obviously, signifiers can absorb various meanings depending on their surrounding contexts. There also seems to be a competition between floating signifiers for the possession of a meaning or sign, or absorbing it. For example, the word peace can stand for a narrow or broad meaning depending on different historical or geopolitical context. Historically, we can compare interpretation of peace in the Cold War era with post-Cold War. Peace as a floating signifier can be interpreted narrowly as the absence of war, and in a broader interpretation, it can be considered to include sustainable development criteria, such as the right to development, sustainable peace and prosperity, human rights, minority rights, and the eradication of conflicts. We can point to the discursive opposition between capitalism and socialism on human rights as another example. The term freedom of expression is a signification through which the egalitarian socialist system is criticized and marginalized. And this is a contradiction, discursive contradiction. In the configuration of discourse, we also see a kind of dialectic and synthesis of concepts. The two types of chain, namely chain of equivalence and chain of difference, represent the internal and external elements of a discourse. Chain of equivalence as the inclusive or symbol of inclusiveness, and chain of difference as exclusive. or symbol of exclusiveness. These two sets of elements collectively and simultaneously complete the identity of a discourse, and it establishes the identity boundaries of that discourse with its rivals or others, such as Western and Eastern blocs as two discourses, and also different identity groups, gender, ethnic, religious, and so on. For example, both leftists and rightists in the world politics attempt to combine, to synthesize their own identities or ideological policies with populist rhetoric, slogans, and themes through what are called chains of equivalence, and to differentiate themselves from the other or others by emphasizing their own characteristics through the articulation of chain of difference. Thank you for your watching. See you in the next video.